Hello everybody, welcome to the video. Another episode of Theory Talk. Today what we're going to basically talk about is how the Archons are able to preserve memories. Particularly this is important because of the changes in the Ermin Soul. Let me explain. The memory changes of the Ermin Soul. It seems to me that different Archons have a different way of preserving memories, even though whether they forget stuff or not. Like for instance, Nahida's situation, she did forget about Rukadubahu, but Zhongli seems to remember some things. And Venti is very sus. He remembers some things. But all in all, here's the situation. Venti, Zhongli, right in A. And then we got Nahida. We know that memories can be altered and changed in the Ermin Soul, right? But from my perspective, items, books, artifacts, weapons, everything can change, but some don't change. Why is that? The question that we've always had. My interpretation was, if they use proper nouns in some descriptions, they get changed. For instance, I don't know if you guys know the Veridescent Vendor's artifact set, right? The Veridescent Vendor artifact set, there was a hint of Rukkhadevata in it, but the information never changed within the artifact set of Veridescent Vendor. And that's because inside the artifact, it specifically uses the term God of Woods as opposed to Rukkhadevata. And that never changed, and that makes sense. And we learned later in the Sumeru Archon quest that as long as the stories are put under the veil of an allegory, basically a cryptic story that is replacing the nouns, the information should stay. That's why they use different nouns for certain things in the game. A lot of different things, right? The RNRs also talk about Rukkhadevata, but it doesn't really change because they use Queen Aranya. I forgot how to pronounce. Queen Arayani. So they seems to still remember the existence of this being, just not Rukkhadevata, because they understand them as a different name. So the whole idea is trying to preserve information and history by not directly referring to the individual's name, but using different ways to do it. So with that in mind, Venti is correlated to the preservation of memories. As we all know, he's a bard. He utilizes songs, and very cryptic songs, almost like identical to the concept of allegories. Zhongli, which is interesting because if you remember going all the way back to the Ashtaha story quest, one of the ways that might relate to Zhongli about how he preserves memory is by using rocks. And weirdly, that orange rock, what's it called? Core Lapis, that's what it was. It's like for some reason the rocks retain memory. We know that Nahida uses fairy tales from the Sumeru Archon quest with the concept of allegory. Raiden A is a very interesting case because some of us said puppets, some of us said plane of euthymia, some people also say novels relating to Yai. But of all the things, the biggest thing that stands out to me is actually the sword. The Raiden Gokaden was formed under Raiden Shogun, aka A, and the sword art is essentially what preserved the story and the history, the different things within Inazuma. But it got me wondering, if we go with this idea of sword art, it also reflects the sword that was given to A from Makoto. Masou no Ishin. That's the best thing that I think correlates to Raiden Shogun, the Inazuma section, because undoubtedly rocks related to Zhongli, bard, wind songs related to Venti, fairy tales very reminiscent of Nahida, and the only thing I can think about for Raiden Shogun is swords. Why is this important? It seems like the only person who actually has the ability to remember things is a traveler. This is a kind of a crazy idea, but I like to believe that all these different things that is connected to each individual Archon to help us figure out the truth, so that in the end we'll know what the hell is going on in the entire world of Teyvat, right? Like this is all connecting to Celestia as well. Another interesting thing about all this, besides the initial concepts, there's also another thing that I found very interesting. Everybody seems to have something. Venti uses the lyre. Zhongli has the memory of dust. Raiden Shogun has Musou no Ishin. And then Nahida has the Akasha. They're all tools relating to some kind of a memory or truth. It's weird to me that the Archons have a very specific tool that is relating to them, because, again, going back to Honkai, the Hershers have a thing called the Divine Keys. And basically, the humanity utilizes Divine Keys as tools to fight against the Honkai, or aka to learn the truth about what the hell is actually going on. And it's very reminiscent to the Genshin section and the Honkai section. Obviously, it goes without saying, the Archons of Genshin has Gnosis, and then the Hershers have cores. So the idea is very similar. I'm assuming that every Archons have a very specific tool that is already listed here, and I'm assuming this pattern is to persist with Focalord, the Hydro Archon, Murata, the Pyro Archon, as well as Saritza and Shinezaya, and they all probably have some kind of a tool that kind of tries to decipher the truth behind the stories that could be altered or something along those lines. All in all, it's just for the traveler to figure out the answer and the truth with the help of the Archons. Another side note to this is I find it very strange. That stupid rock, this doesn't have text involved. This is actually more like visual. Does visual representation, like for instance, the rock was basically like a camera that was recording information and it was visual and it's not text. I wonder if that changed as well. I don't know, because we haven't really gotten like an indicator that it does or it doesn't, because after the Ajdaha quest, we didn't really get something similar to like the CCTV rock. Now I think about it, if information changed and Celestia is trying to keep things under wraps, why aren't the paintings of the murals in like Surumi Island, the Dragon Spine, why haven't they changed? Or have they changed? That's an interesting idea again. And of course, there is that thing from the Inazuma Festival. This, relating to Scaramouche, if I recall correctly, when we got this item and finished it, this never worked anyway. And again, this is probably one of those things that we'll never learn, because Scaramouche didn't exist in the first place in the mural. It was like a little special thing that you had to do at the end of the Inazuma event festival that shows up. But I wonder if pictures of objects don't change. It's just only text connecting to the Erminsul. And you're right, the vase that broke at the end of Sumeru's Archon quest, it's very curious because the memories change, but the objects still stay. It does feel like physical things don't change, but only description of things change. Maybe the rock just bypasses it because it's visual. The song bypasses it because it's almost like a poem, right? And then the fairy tales don't change because of the concept of allegory. As far as the sword art, I don't know. Sword art equals muscle memory? Oh, like Dia in the Samsara quest? If that's true and that's what the hint was, that's crazy. But all in all, I think this kind of concept will persist throughout all the regions and all the Archons. Would that persist in Fontaine? Would that persist in Natlan? And would that persist in Shinezaya? So what does this mean for other Archons that have yet to release? Fontaine, Natlan, and then we got Shinezaya. I hope that's how you spell it. Shinezaya, ice, preservation, cryostasis. And this is also very strangely could be hinted from the Frozen Boar, maybe March 7th, if that is even a thing for Star Rail. This is Copium. Then what about the other areas? Water also records memories. Ocean, its line. I guess that is like the only real hint, but it is kind of sus, right? Waters will exist forever as long as the water persists. What about Natlan then? Natlan is, I don't know. I can't think of anything for Natlan. Man, I'm just gonna say it. Natlan, fire, Phoenix, resurrection, Senora. Copium, call it whatever you want to call it. I'm never gonna let it go. Thank you for watching this video. This video was actually rather complicated. If you have any idea, let me know so we can try to piece some things together. Also, I started streaming on Twitch now, so if you want to follow me on Twitch, go ahead over there. The link is in the description. And I'll see you next time, okay? Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye. Peace. Bye.